My father came from very humble beginnings. We are not a family of financial wealth, but we have emotional stability, which is more valuable than financial stability, because at least you can wake up in the morning and be happy with yourself.
The key word there is a father, right? He was a very strong-willed man, determined to make a point in life, kind of grounded in education. He was not a religious man, but very spiritual. I mean, he's certainly driven by his own convictions of life and the stewardship around history. He was very strong in his history and was always destined to learn more, and he brought that out in his family. And so when you listen to my dad around the table, and as a young man, he's encouraging you to be spiritual, to be faithful, to be discerning, and to be focused on life and do better. Push yourself. And so my dad always had a life learning cause for his family. But there was something about welding and the discipline of welding that we like to convey to folks about my father, because it was his discipline in life that got him through the journey to raise 9 kids in a very rough period of time as an African-American man trying to raise his family in Kenosha and be a part of the citizenry here in town.
For me, seeing him in his workspace, which was like a huge garage, and you'd hear things go psh, 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 click, click, click. And to see him interacting with his students, and then we'd walk up on Dad and say, "Hey, Dad," he said, no, watch out, be careful, stand back. But I saw a man that was working magic. He was like the magician, and his students were the student magicians. I think I took a lot of my qualities from my father. I am not a teacher, I'm a parent-teacher liaison. And so that means I have to be very versatile in terms of any of the families and any of the students that I meet. My dad was that way. He knew how to make things work for you as an individual. Part of education that says my father was a great educator is the fact that people come back and they say that because of him, they had a job, and they still have a job to this day.
Well, when I first met him, I was a little intimidated by him, you know. I mean, you could just tell he had kind of a strong personality, and not in a bad way, but that was kind of quickly vanquished when he would start talking. He was very compassionate about what he did, you know, and how serious he was about his class. I think that's the biggest thing, which I guess is even more important in learning how to weld, but a great sense of watching out for your community and being part of your community and helping other people and being patient with people, I would say would be the biggest thing that I learned from him. He's a great guy.
But at the time he said, work hard at what you're doing, get good at it, try to be the best at it, and you're going to be set. And he said, you're going to be able to provide for your family. I got 5 kids. I'm working, and I've always thought that, you know, that that's the way you had to do it.
My dad was a happy man. He would walk through this building with his head held high and his shoulders back. And what a place to have that same, his spirit walking through here. The spirits of Art Mahone that'll go through here forever. When you feel like you're on your last leg, like I'm sure my dad did, and I know he did at times, this building gave him peace of mind because he could give it back.
So this atrium is a think tank of sorts, right? You have financial services, student services, you have a classroom activity, but you have the intersection of all that with this atrium. And I think it does become a gathering spot for students, families, the community, to live in a place and learn in a place that reflects my dad's legacy around that.
The atrium has been fine-tuned like my father. It has been cut and sized like my father. It has been designed, and if you knew my father, you would know that that is him. flashy when it has to be, soft when it needs to be, and here all the time. That atrium is perfect. That's what I think my daddy was. My daddy was perfect.